ஹலோ காய்ஸ், அவாய் வால் ஒரே சம்பவமாக போயிட்டுருக்கு. தக் லைஃப் படத்தால். தக் லைஃப் படம் வேறு மாதிரி கதை கொடுக்கல, அது தனி கதை அப்புறம் வரும். வித்தவுட் எனி டியூ ஸ்ட்ரெயிட் கெட் டு த ஷோ. இப்போ முதல்ல கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜ்னால் என்ன அடிப்படையில் தெரியும்னா, அங்கே தான் ஒரு புது ட்விஸ்ட் இருக்குது. கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜுங்கிறது இந்தியன் கவர்மெண்ட்டால் அவங்களா ஒரு க்ரைட்டீரியா ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணப்பட்டு அது அந்த கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜுங்கிற டேக் கொடுக்கப்படுது. இந்த யூனியன் கேபிட்டல் ஆன் Thursday expanded the list of classical language to 11 including இப்போ 2024 மராத்தி, பலி, பிராகிருத், அசாமீஸ் அண்ட் பெங்காலி in it. தமிழ், சான்ஸ்கிரிட், தெலுங்கு, கன்னடா, மலையாளம், ஒடியா were already member of this league. தமிழ் was the first one to get classical status in 2004. ஸோ அடுத்தது கன்னடாக்கு, தமிழ் சான்ஸ்கிரிட் அடுத்தது கன்னடாக்கு கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜ் வரப்பவே நம்ம கோர்ட் அப்ரோச் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அண்ட் தென் அப்புறமேட்டா தெலுங்குக்கும் தப்பு நினைக்கிறேன், தெலுங்கு, மலையாளமா இதெல்லாம் வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் அதுக்கு 2016 17 திரும்ப அப்ரோச் பண்ணி ரெண்டுத்தையும் கம்பேர் பண்ணி இந்த கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜுங்கிற ஸ்டேட்டஸ் எப்படி கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா அதை நம்ம சேலஞ்ச் பண்ணோம் கோர்ட்டில். கோர்ட்டு நான் சொல்லிடுச்சு, எக்ஸ்பர்ட்ஸ் தானே அதை பண்ணாங்க. எக்ஸ்பர்ட்ஸ் வந்து அந்த கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜ் டேக் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு என்ன எலிஜிபிலிட்டின்னு அவங்க வச்சுருக்காங்களோ அந்த எலிஜிபிலிட்டி ரீச் ஆச்சுன்னு எக்ஸ்பர்ட்ஸ் பிலீவ் பண்ணால் அவங்க கொடுத்துட்டு போகிறாங்க. இதில் நாங்கள் கோர்ட்டை நாங்கள் எதுவுமே பண்ண முடியாது அப்படின்னு சிம்பிளாக கையை வச்சிச்சு. Tamil was the first to get classical status in 2004, while Odia the sixth got it in 2014. Classical language serves as a custodian of Bharat's Times of India, profound and ancient cultural heritage, embodying the essence of each community's historical and cultural milestones. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. House language selected for classical status. Over criteria marred actually. The category of classical language was created on October 2004, with Tamil being the only entry. In November that year, Ministry of Culture created a linguistic experts committee under the Sahitya Academy to examine the eligibility of other possible contenders. Sanskrit was declared a classical language in 2005, Telugu and Kannada in 2008, and Malayalam and Odia in 2013 and 14 respectively. Government press release says the criteria for classical language has been revised twice since 2004. 2004 அப்போ உருவாக்குனதுலேருந்து 2 தடவை திருத்தம் வர பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. பார்த்தீங்களா, இதுதான் எலிஜிபிலிட்டி. ஹை ஆன்டிக்விட்டி ஆஃப் இட்ஸ் ஏர்லி டெக்ஸ்ட் ரெக்கார்டட் ஹிஸ்ட்ரி ஓவர் அ பீரியட் ஆஃப் 1500 to 2000 இயர்ஸ். இப்போ இருக்கிறதுலேருந்து 1500 2000 ஆண்டுகளாச்சும் அது இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. A body of ancient literature text which is considered a heritage by generation of speakers, knowledge texts, especially prose texts, in addition to poetry, epigraphical and inscriptional evidence. The classical language and literature could be distinct from its current form or could be discontinued with later forms of its offshoots. கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு கண்டினியூஸான ஒரு எவல்யூஷன், ஒரு கண்டினியூஸான ஒரு ஃபார்ம் இல்லைனாலும் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிக்கப்படணுங்க போட்டிருக்காங்க. உதாரணத்துக்கு சான்ஸ்கிரிட்டுக்கு என்ன வடிவம் அப்படிங்கிறது பார்த்திங்கன்னா அது கொஞ்சம் கான்ட்ரவர்ஷியல். அதுக்கப்புறம் தேவநாகரி ஸ்கிரிப்டை சான்ஸ்கிரிப்ட் எடுத்துக்கிச்சு, ஹிந்தியும் தேவநாகரி ஸ்கிரிப்ட் அப்படியே எடுத்துக்கிச்சு. அதனால் தேவநாகரி ஸ்கிரிப்ட்னு இப்போ சான்ஸ்கிரிட்டுக்குன்னு உரிய தனி ஒரு ஸ்கிரிப்ட் இருக்கானா இல்லை, அதுக்கு முன்னாடி பிரகிருத்தில் சான்ஸ்கிரிட் எழுதப்பட்டிருக்கு. ஸோ அதனால் இதுதான் ஒரு பிரச்சனை. அதுதான் வந்து இதை அழகாக வளைச்சி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜ் அண்ட் லிட்ரேச்சர் குட் பி டிஸ்டிங் ஃப்ரம் இட்ஸ் கரண்ட் ஃபார்ம் or could be discontinuous with the later forms of its offshoot. The idea is criterion that the language literacy tradition be original, not borrowed from another speech community, has been dropped. இதை எப்படி ட்ராப் பண்ணாங்கன்னு எனக்கு புரியல. இப்போ உதாரணத்துக்கு மகாபாரதம்னு ஒன்று வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். மகாபாரதம் எல்லா லாங்குவேஜ்லேயும் இருக்குது. இப்போ ராமாயணம் வந்து கம்ப ராமாயணம் இருக்குது, வால்மீகி ராமாயணம் இருக்குது, டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ராமாயணம் இருக்குல்ல. அவங்க என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க, ஒரு கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜ் அந்த லாங்குவேஜுக்குன்னு உரிய ஒரு அதுக்குன்னு உரியான ஒரு லிட்ரஸி, ஒரு ஆர்ட் ஃபார்ம் இருக்கணும், லிட்ரேச்சர் இருக்கணும். இவங்க என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க, அப்படி ஒன்றுத்தில் இன்னொரு மொழியிலேருந்து இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல, ஆனால் அந்த மொழியில் இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு கேட்குறாங்க. இது ஒரு எவ்வளோ முக்கியமான க்ரைட்டீரியா. இதை மாற்றிருக்காங்க. ஐடியா க்ரைட்டீரியன் தட் லாங்குவேஜ் லிட்ரஸி ட்ரெடிஷன் பி ஒரிஜினல் நாட் பார்ட் ஃப்ரம் அனதர் ஸ்பீஷீஸ் ஹஸ் பீன் ட்ராப்டுன்னு போட்டு வச்சுருக்காங்க. அதனால தான் மற்றது எல்லாருமே கொடுத்து வச்சுருக்காங்க. ஸோ இது வந்து நம்ம யூனியன் கேபினெட்டே முடிவு பண்ணி கொடுத்துக்கிற டேக். அது அவங்களோ ஒரு எக்ஸ்பர்ட்டை வச்சு இவங்களா அதுதான் க்ரைட்டீரியா வச்சு இவங்களா கொடுத்துக்கிறது. What changes for the language after gaining classical status? The government promotes the study and precision of classical languages. 2 major annual international awards for scholars are in classical languages. A center of excellence for studies in classical language has been established to support advanced research. இப்படி சொல்லிட்டு எல்லா காசும் சான்ஸ்கிரிட் தான் போகுது. சான்ஸ்கிரிட் 600 கோடி 500 கோடி 600 கோடியும் போகுது. தமிழுக்கு வந்து 5 கோடியோ 7 கோடியோ வருதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். University Grants Commission is requested to create a professional chairs in central universities to support the study of classical languages. For example, in 2020, 3 central universities, Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, New Delhi, Rashtriya Sanskrit Vyapadi Tripathi, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Rashtriya Sanskrit Vidyapith, New Delhi were established to promote Sanskrit. Likewise, பார்த்தீங்களா எத்தனை பார்த்தீங்களா? நியூ டெல்லியில், திருப்பதியில், இன்னொன்று நியூ டெல்லியில், அப்புறம் 3 தான் were established to promote Sanskrit. Likewise, Central Institute of Classical Tamil was set up to facilitate the translation of ancient Tamil texts, promote research and offer courses for university students, language scholars of Tamil. Central Institute of Classical Tamil இங்கே இருக்குது. Centers for Excellence for Studies in Classical Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Odia were established under Central Institution of Indian Languages in Mysore. அங்கே ஒன்று இருக்குது. States with the classical languages such as Odisha and Tamil Nadu are entitled to annual grants for the study and research and promotion of their language. How Marathi, Bengali, Assamese got this status? In July 2013, a committee headed by Professor Ranganatha Patri submitted a report to Center. Professor Hari Narke, coordinator of the 10-member committee that gathered evidence to show that Marathi is at least 2,300 years old, saying it is a wrong perception that Marathi is an offshoot of Sanskrit or that it is merely 800 or 1,000 years old. Narke said the committee submitted 80 pieces of documentary evidence to show that Marathi is an original language. In 2023, the State Higher Education Department of the West Bengal government established the Institute of Language Studies and Research to advance knowledge in language studies, translation and cultural research. The institute gathered evidence for 2 years and prepared a draft that was submitted to the center. West Bengal CM Mamata Banerjee wrote to PM in 2024 urging the acceptance of Bengali as classical language. Assam CM Himanta Biswa Sharma on October 1 said his government is a regular contact with Modi and the center to recognize Assamese as a classical language. On his ex, Sharma stressed why it should be under classical language status. Is conferring this status also a political tool? Conferring classical status on language has a political implications, particularly during the election season. Recognizing the cultural heritage of a specific linguistic group allow parties to garner support in regions where language defines identity. Language has long been a significant tool in the identity politics. For example, the UPL-led center accorded classical status to Tamil after DMK-led alliance swept 2004 state elections. DMK patriots M. Karunanidhi offered the support to Manmohan Singh's UPA government on condition that Tamil be granted the status of classical language. First of 6 classical languages, barring Sanskrit, were spoken in South India. This time, the states from whose languages have been chosen from the belt from west to east. Maharashtra, Marathi, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, Pali and Prakrit, West Bengal, Bengali and Assam, Assamese. Was Marathi included with Ion Maharashtra polls? The first proposal to include Marathi in the list came from Congress-led Maharashtra government in 2013. The decision has come a decade later when BJP and its allies run both center and its states. It's also timed very closely to the state elections. Political observers say the decision can be used to seek votes in the name of Marathi Asmita, Marathi pride. Do such titles create language hierarchies? Rating languages can give rise to perception that some languages are more prestigious and culturally significant than others, especially in a multilingual country like India. The Marathi versus non-Marathi political narrative in Maharashtra that has fueled several elections in classic case of a language hierarchy in the state. Sentiments against Hindi and Gujarati are reinforced during the elections, even down south. Leaders of political parties in Tamil Nadu, including the late M. Karunanidhi, criticized the union government's attempts to promote Sanskrit in schools by mandating 3-language formula. Right. Super. Thank God the Congress party has not made Farsi, Urdu, Arabic the classical language of India. So-called secular parties. இங்கிருந்தா வரீங்க அதெல்லாம் கமெண்ட் தூக்கிட்டு. ஸோ இதுதான் கிளாசிக்கல் லாங்குவேஜுங்கிறது இப்படி தான் கொடுக்கப்படுது. நாம் என்ன பண்ணோம், மெட்ராஸ் ஹைகோர்ட்டில் கேஸ் போட்டோம். In an outstanding judgment, the Madras High Court has said that Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam and Odia are classical languages just like Tamil, bringing an end to the needless controversy by Subramaniam in Chennai, Rama Subramaniam. In a sterling judgment, a bench of Chief Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul and R. Mahadevan of the Madras High Court upheld the status of classical language according to Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam and Odia by the Union government. In an order issued in 2008, the central government had granted classical language status to the Telugu and Kannada. This was challenged by the Chennai-based senior advocate R. Gandhi in the Madras High Court the same year. Incidentally, in 2015, classical status was accorded to Malayalam and Odia. Chief Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul left and Justice R. Mahadevan reasoned that granting classical illness to one language doesn't neglect the importance of another. After 7 years of petition filed in this regard, the bench, in an important ruling on August 8, 2016, said, from the records, it is evident that the expert body was satisfied that the languages comply with the eligibility criteria. Therefore, this court cannot go into the opinion and finding of the expert body. The facts which made the expert body recommend the promulgation of such declaration have been placed before us, and a copy has also been furnished to the petitioner. As such, we do not find any reason to interfere with the impugned declaration. This court cannot convert itself into a forum for debate on such matter. அவ்வளோதான் முடிச்சு விட்டாங்க. It was on October 12, 2004 that classical status was granted to Sanskrit, and on November 25, 2005 to Tamil by the center through a Home Ministry notification. என்ன அப்படியே மாற்றி போட்டிருக்காங்க. ஃபஸ்ட்டு தமிழுக்கு தான் போட்டாங்க, அப்புறம் தான் சான்ஸ்கிரிட்டுக்கு போட்டாங்க. This was done on the basis of recommendation by the Dr. Gopi Narayan committee, which was established exclusively to look into this issue. In fact, the decision to grant this status to Tamil was agreed in principle by the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government in early 2004. The DMK was a constituent of the NDA government. Trouble broke out when the center decided to grant classical language status to Kannada and Telugu in 2008. There were murmurs and protests in Tamil Nadu at the time. The growth of Tamil activists being the center's decision was being done due to political consideration, despite the absence of necessary ingredients was laid down in the guidelines. When Gandhi submitted these points, both in his petition and oral arguments, the bench strongly rejected them and asked the petitioner to approach the authorities concerned. It added that the petitioner could also give his suggestions for determining the type of literature that could be the benchmark for qualification of classical language. கிளாஸ் 5 லாங்குவேஜ் எலிஜிபிலிட்டி கிரைட்டீரியா வரையறுக்க நீங்கள் வேணால் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுங்கன்னு அனுப்பிச்சி விட்ருக்காங்க. ஆனால் அவங்க ஆல்ரெடி எலிஜிபிலிட்டின்னு வச்சிருந்து அது கிளாஸ் சுத்தம் பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு சிம்பிளாக முடிச்சிட்டாங்க. 39 page short order was at its best when it countered Gandhi's arguments that Tamil would lose its prominence if these 4 languages were accorded classical language status with the following words. Prominence of a language would not depend on development or fall of other languages. Rather, the growth and importance can be attributed only to usage of the language and creative contribution in forms of arts and literature. Undisputedly, Tamil has the history and literature which are ancient. Who is superior? Antiquity criteria. As there were no procedure. Who is superior? Sir, படிச்சிரும். The bench was equally firm in rejecting the claim of the government of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Odisha that their respective language was superior to others. Being a sensitive subject, it would have been wise for the respondents to restrict themselves from distribution of the declaration of their languages classical rather than debate over the superiority of one language over the other, the bench said. It is said the whole issue started with the National Common Minimum Program of UP Alliance for setting up a committee to examine the question of declaring all languages in the 8th schedule of the constitution as the official languages. In addition, Tamil was to be declared as the classical language. The Sahitya Academy was considered an opinion was that there was no doubt about the classical status of Tamil, but it may not be the government's job to declare any languages classical, as it was more of a critical concept than the matter of official policy. In addition, Tamil was to be declared as a classical language. The High Academy was considered, and the opinion was no doubt about the classical status of Tamil, but it may not be the government's job to declare any languages classical, as it was more of a critical concept than matter of official policy. Antiquity criteria. As there were no procedure to declare any languages classical language, the Union Home Ministry was assigned the job of roping in the Ministries of Culture and other relevant ministers to work out the modalities. Therefore, a meeting of experts was organized by the Sahitya Academy. It was noted that there was apparently no defined criteria in existence for a classical language. A cabinet decision was taken on submission of the consultative reports by this set of experts. The bench also mentioned that there was a submission from a Tamil minister in the union government that unless a language was more than 2000 years old and fulfilled all other prerequisites, classical language status should not be given. Classical language status should not be given. Basically, the antiquity criteria of 1000 years was sought to be enhanced, for which discussions took place. It was also opined that to raise the bar to 2000 years old would mean exclusion of many other languages. Finally, it was agreed to limit it to 1500 to 2000 years. The judgment quoted American author Oliver Wendell Holmes' wisdom that every language is a temple in which souls of those who speak it is enshrined. The bench further mentioned that this parameter was fixed only to authenticate the existence of text and recorded history of the language, not the existence of the literature. What is acceptable as what is acceptable as a literature has to be determined by the expert body and not by this court, it said. The bench indicated that the grant of a classic language status has a lot to do with center funds grant for development of that particular language. The significant aspect is that once a language is declared a classical language, funding is made available to establish a center of excellence for studying and creation of boards to look to measure to promote and protect the language. Awards are given for excellence in the language. Thus, it is really financial assistance for measures to protect and promote the growth of the language. Allocation of funds, but the bench cautioned that the status of a classical language is not in itself. It was not necessary that for a promotion of language it must be declared a classical language. The center as well as the state government are well within rights to promote the languages, cultures of this country by allocating fund which is actually in practice by all states. அடுத்தது in a penultimate paragraph of this judgment, the bench said it is for the experts to verify whether the language satisfies the norms and recommend for that declaration. Having satisfied, they have recommended for the declaration of the language in consideration to be classical. The facts which made the expert body recommend the promulgation of such declaration has also been placed before us, and a copy has also been furnished to the petitioner. As such, we do not find any reason to interfere in the imposed declaration. This court cannot convert itself into a forum for debate on such matters. American Sanskrit scholar Sheldon Pollock says if the award was classical status as a means to ensure serious relationship, then there are dozen or more languages in India that are in need of recognition. It concluded the judgment with an apt quote by American author Oliver Wendell Holmes. Every language is a temple and in which the souls of those who speak it is enshrined. There were no reaction either from Tamil activist or political party in the state to give this judgment, but some sane voices welcomed this judgment. Oh, the judgment that granting classical language status to other languages will result in the loss of prominence of Tamil is absurd. What's happening in Tamil in the name of language is nothing but pure politics. Those politicians who are crying foul about Tamil being not given proper status has failed to allot adequate funds for the development of the language. A classical example is the poor status of Tamil University in Tanjavur, which is crying for proper funds, said the Marx, Tamil writer and social activist. Sheldon Pollock, an American Sanskrit scholar in Columbia University, had said this to say about the dire straits of Indian classical languages have been observing with extreme amusement the debate over the classical status of the Indian language since the issue was first raised in 2006 in the case of Canada. This, of course, is dangerous to introduce individual distinctions among languages, and yes, of course, the scholarship upon which these distinctions are found is often empirically thin and theoretically weak. I am reminded of what a great poet Bhartrihari. So one should not wait until the home is burning to dig a well, and the house of Indian classical language study is not only burning it, it lies almost in ashes. Who cares if a language X and Y or Z is the given classical status if there is no one who can read it? And if the award of classical status is a measure to ensure serious relationship, then there are dozens of more languages in India. Indeed, the entire pre-modern literacy past that is in desperate need of this recognition. How apt. So, okay, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed all this news reacts. இன்னொரு வீடியோவில் உங்களை சந்திக்கிறேன். நான் பட்டன் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருங்க லைக் பண்ணுங்கள், கமெண்ட் செக்ஷனில் தெரியப்படுத்துங்க உங்களுக்கு எவ்வளோ பிடிச்சிருக்கும், உங்கள் ஒப்பீனியன் நீங்கள் இருக்கு சொல்லுங்கள். And if you want to support me, hit the subscribe button. That's the only you can support any community like me. இன்னும் நல்ல வீடியோவில் உங்களை சந்திக்கிறேன். You all peace out.